Hello, everyone. This is my husband. Good morning. Today is Independent Bookstore Day, otherwise known as IBD, which is both hilarious and unfortunate for anybody who has to sell books today. But yeah, we last year did the book crawl to its full extent. In case you're not familiar, in Chicago, there's the option to go to any of the, I think it was 70 or so participating last year. There's like 80 plus now. If you went to 10 bookshops, you got 10 stamps or stickers on your passport, you would then qualify for 10% off at all of the independent bookstores for the year. If you did 15, you would say 15% off. So we went hard, and I tried vlogging that, but it was so warm. Some of the vlog was just me complaining in our car, which is fine. Maybe it would be fun for you, but not fun for me who has to edit it. So I'm smarter this year. I have a better route. I have learned things. There's a lot of construction around Chicago, so I'm taking that into consideration. So we have an agenda that is ironclad, but I have a goal because I'm doing the 77 Days of Venus challenge on my Patreon. I have 7 objectives within the bigger objective of getting my 15 stamps. I am looking for these particular books or type of book or book by author. Yesteryear by Claire Burke. This is about a trad wife that is taken back in time. It's sold out a lot of places because clearly it's very timely. So I am very much wanting to see if I could find that while we go hunting. Women Living Deliciously by Florence Given. I've been a really big fan of her work lately, and I'm wanting to see if I find a copy of that. It does seem like it might be at the final place in our crawl agenda, so we shall see. Something by Ocean Vuong. I saw a video on YouTube about him talking about the writing recently. It really resonated with me, so I feel like I want to absorb more of his style of writing to maybe help fuel my writing. Sally Rooney. All of you booktubers talk about Sally Rooney. I'm kind of torn as to whether I want to do something that is tried and true, like Normal People, or Intermezzo is one that I was very curious about because it has chess and grief between siblings. That really seems fun for me. And there are 2 books about the Hellenic period, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and sexuality, Controlling Desire, Sexuality in Ancient Greece and Rome, and The Sleep of Reason, Erotic Experience and Sexual Ethics in Ancient Greece and Rome. That last one should be available where we're going to be on the south side because it's written by people who are all Chicago professors. They better have a copy of it. And 7, a surprise. Let's just see what I find because I will find something that I decide I have to go home with. I'm going to wear proper clothing. This is actually my robe from Highway Robbery. I sometimes feel tempted to walk out with it, but then that's a little bit too the dude for me. We are going to go get our initial breakfast, get our passport book, and then keep trekking along. Hopefully there will be no mentee bees about how tired I am, but no promises. So the gentleman got a beignet?
Yes.
Hey, is it filled?
Yeah. Raspberry.
Very nice.
Waiting for... That's pudding, as the book says.
That's pudding? Very good. Biscuit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's been so long since I've had the money.
Ooh.
Yeah.
From what do you know? Huh?
I said, I know, but we gotta wait.
Wait for...
This and the Art Pepe are the same price.
What is Art Pepe?
Art Pepe is that, well, I spent years working at Italy having people talk about it and how good it is.
Okay.
The Rosa di Valtellina, so yes, it's a Nebbiolo.
Okay.
It's a Nebbiolo from Valtellina.
Got it.
And for years, people told me how good it was. I never bought a bottle.
Good morning, everyone. Is it morning? It's still morning. It's the following morning, so I've gotten a very long night's sleep. I woke up this morning and I just couldn't move. Doing the crawl, it takes a lot out of you. Very, very demanding on your body. 15 bookshops in one day across almost the entire span of the city from north to south. Not quite fully, but it's a lot to cover, especially on a Saturday with Saturday traffic. I realized it's allergy season, so I was struggling a little bit. But when we've gone back to the south side for any particular reason, I have felt like my allergies were a little bit better there because you're right by the lake, and the lake effect wind can kind of help move things a little bit more. So I felt like I could power through a little bit better. I'm going to do a little haul moment with you all to talk about what I was able to procure from the shops we went to. I was able to find a copy of Yesteryear. I ended up finding it at 3 Aves bookshop in Lakeview. They had a wall of recommendations, and this was the only copy. I wasn't even through the door entirely. I just looked over and saw Yesteryear, and then I climbed over somebody to grab the book. We did what we had to do. I will offer a brief read. It gave me so much stuff. I had to figure out where to put my sticker. You know how we used to be really precious about stickers when we were younger? Now I just put stickers on things the minute I find them. Younger me would never. Natalie Heller Mills is a traditional American woman, a beautiful wife and mother who sells her pioneer lifestyle of raw milk and farm-fresh eggs to her millions of social media followers. Her farmhouse is charmingly rustic. Her husband, a handsome cowboy for 6 children, each more delightful than the last. So what if there are nannies and producers behind the scenes? Her kitchen is hiding industrial grade fridges and ovens, and her husband is the heir to a political dynasty. What Natalie's followers don't know won't hurt them. And the angry women, the privileged Ivy League coastal elite haters who call her an anti-feminist iconoclast, they're sick with jealousy because Natalie isn't simply living the good life, she's building an empire. Until one morning she wakes up in a life that isn't hers. Her home, her husband, her children, they're all familiar but wrong. Her kitchen is warmed by a sputtering fire rather than electricity. Her children are dirty and strange, and her soft-headed husband is suddenly a competent farmer. Competent farmer. Carved into the wooden threshold is a date, 1855. Just yesterday, Natalie was curating photos of homemade jam for her Instagram, and now she's expected to haul firewood and hand-wash clothes until her fingers bleed. Has she become the unwitting star of a worthless reality show? Could it really be time travel? Is she being tested by God? By Satan? When Natalie suffers a brutal injury in the woods, she realizes 2 things. This is not her beautiful life, and she must escape by any means possible. A gripping, electrifying novel that is as darkly funny as it is frightening, Yesteryear is a gimlet-eyed look at tradition, fame, faith, and the grand performance of womanhood. I'm excited. That competent farmer thing. Ooh, the shade. Okay, the other book that was on my list to go hunting for that I was able to find is I did end up finding a Sally Rooney book. So I did end up getting Intermezzo. I talked about this at the top of the vlog. Do I want to go for something that's a bit more, oh, you begin reading Sally Rooney at the beginning, or do you just jump in wherever you feel like? I feel like I should just begin with what I'm drawn to read and then go from there. I was looking at like the complicated female friendship versus this book, and I'm like, that might stress me out a little bit too much. So I opted not to do that. Rooney's most fully developed novel yet, Intermezzo propels you to its well-earned moving climax with nary a false move. Aside from the fact that they are brothers, Peter and Ivan Kubak seem to have little in common. Peter is a Dublin lawyer in his 30s, successful, competent, and apparently unassailable. But in the wake of their father's death, he is medicating himself to sleep and struggling to manage his relationships with 2 very different women. His enduring first love, Sylvia, and Naomi, a college student for whom life is one long joke. Ivan is a 22-year-old competitive chess player. He has always seen himself as socially awkward, a loner, the antithesis of his glib elder brother. Now, in the early weeks of his bereavement, Ivan meets Margaret, an older woman emerging from her own turbulent past, and their lives become rapidly and intensely intertwined. For 2 grieving brothers and the people they love, this is a new interlude, a period of desire, despair, and possibility, a chance to find how much one life might hold inside itself without breaking. Yeah, was drawn to the grief narrative. The family dynamic felt a little bit more, pulled me in. I also ended up getting this at Lilliput. That is in Lincoln Park, and it is named after their mascot is the owner's dog. And unfortunately, they could not come on site for IBD. That was mostly because it would be a somatic nightmare for that little dog. But she was there in spirit. We all felt her presence. That shop has like a very nice lived-in feeling. I am a sucker for comfy couches in a bookshop. I know that not every independent bookshop is able to accommodate that way. They only have so much real estate to operate with. I think it really does appeal to like that, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s with Barnes & Noble having the comfy couches, you spending 4 hours there. That it really appeals to that part of me. I like the idea of lingering in a bookshop. And some people may feel like, well, are you going to really shop around and buy anything? I'm like, oh no, in the time that I spent sitting here with one book, my eyes were able to travel, and I now have a whole other stack of things my mother will judge me for. So yeah, let's talk about the ones that I grabbed from my time on the South Side. And yes, I did make plenty of jokes about the Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. There's a film that they made about their love meeting being young people on the South Side with you. I made a lot of jokes about that this year, which is funny because when we were living there, I did not do that. Maybe it's the combination of books and history and driving around, seeing the construction of the Obama Center. I have thoughts about the Obama Center. I'm not going to go on too much about it right now. But oh my God, it looks like it belongs in Dune. It's like, no, this is like a Getty Prime. I feel so bad because I want to be open-minded. I'm sure it's going to do some possibly lovely things for the community. But just the look of it, it's... Okay, The Sleep of Reason. It's the other book that I had in mind that I really wanted to find. This one was the one that was available of the two that I was hoping to procure. Unfortunately, the other one just wasn't in stock. This is one that was in stock because a lot of the collaborators are affiliated with the University of Chicago, hence why the seminary co-op 57th Street Books, they tend to have a lot of more academic kind of things. Obviously, it's a university town. The Sleep of Reason, Erotic Experience and Sexual Ethics in Ancient Greece and Rome, edited by Martha Nussbaum and Juha Shibola. I apologize in advance. Sex is beyond reason, and yet we constantly reason about it. But until recently, there has been little discussion of their views on erotic experience and sexual ethics. The Sleep of Reason brings together an international group of philosophers, philologists, literary critics, and historians to consider two questions normally kept separate. How is erotic experience understood in classical texts of various kinds? And what ethical judgments and philosophical arguments are made about sex, from same-sex desire to conjugal love, and the contributors demonstrate the complexity and diversity of classical Greek and Roman sexuality. A lot of good blurbs, a good collection of essays. God, there's one. I was nerding out as we were walking back to continue our trek. I was beginning to flip through. Oh, Erotic Experience and the Conjugal Bed, Good Wives in Greek Tragedy. I'm like, I can't wait to read that. I know who I am. Ooh, yes. Aristotle on Sex and Love. The First Homosexuality, question mark? Yes, I want to read them. Oh, Eros and Aphrodisia in the works of Diochrysostom. Yes. We stopped at Build Coffee and Books. It's tucked away, but I love how you get there. It's really appeals. You got to know where it is. I'm like, yes, I do know where it is. I was kind of open-minded at that point because I knew that the other book that I was on the hunt for that would have been at seminary was unavailable. I didn't see any Ocean Vuong, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to pivot. There might be a few things that jump out to me that are going to be a little bit off the course of what I initially had envisioned for myself on this whole adventure. When we were going to get our stamp, one of the folks that were helping at that table to hook up the people with the passports for the book crawl was Eve Ewing. If y'all don't know, she wrote the book Ghosts in the Schoolyard. It's all about the closure of schools on the South Side, and it's an incredible account. The thing is, it is a snapshot. It's only over a certain period of time in Chicago history, but it is still very telling. I would personally love to see an updated version. I feel like it would just continue to be more bleak potentially, but I feel like there's a lot to hope for with how we're moving in a different direction. She's also worked on Ironheart, that Marvel series. She's a great poet, great writer in general. I love her so much. But yeah, I was thinking after running into her when we got her stamp, oh, I really miss her poetry. I'm keeping myself open to finding more poetry. And then I came across this lovely copy of Letters to a Young Poet by Rilke. It's a newer translation. There's another copy, and I picked it up, and then these other pretty ones were underneath it. So I got the pretty ones that had a nice feel. People who collect books know what I mean. You're torn between one another, and you're like, oh, the one that I'm going to be touching a lot, I wanted to feel good when I touch it. Letters of a Young Poet has been treasured by readers for nearly a century. Rilke's personal reflections on the vocation of writing and the experience of living urge as an aspiring poet to live inward, while also offering sage wisdom on further issues, including gender, solitude, and romantic love. Barrows and Mace's translation extends this compilation of timeless advice and wisdom to a fresh generation of readers. with a new introduction and commentary. This edition places the letters in the context of today's world and the unique challenges we face when seeking authenticity. That felt very, very timely. So I'm happy to finally have my own copy of some Rilke. Our last stop on the south side, we went to call and response, and all over the bookshop, there were flags, people recommending different books, and if you picked up a recommended book during the book crawl, the book would be discounted. So I was able to take advantage of that. But yeah, we have Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. It's blurbed by Kazuo Ishiguro, so we know it's fire, aside from the fact that it was like a recommended book by the booksellers at Call and Response. A young father and son set out on a road trip devastated by the death of the wife and mother they both loved. United in grief, the pair travel to their ancestral home, where they must confront the terrifying legacy she has bequeathed. A family called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in search of immortality. Moving back and forth in time from London in the swinging 1960s to the brutal years of Argentina's military dictatorship and its turbulent aftermath, Our Share of Night is a novel like no other. A family story, a ghost story, a story of the occult and the supernatural, a book about the complexities of love and longing with queer subplots and themes. This is the masterwork of one of Latin America's most original novelists, a mesmerizing writer, says Dave Eggers, who demands to be read. So I'm very excited because that feels like the intersection of so many things I am drawn to as a person, as a writer, as an occultist. It is also written, of course, by a woman of color, someone from Latin America. Something that I do feel a little bit intimidated about with my stack is that I have felt intimidated as an adult reader when it comes to bigger books. I'm not so focused this year on a big, lofty reading goal. I'm actually going to go back into Storygraph to see what my goal is for the year, and I may actually scale it back. I'd rather get through the books that I have been buying, and I would rather read the books that I feel like I want to read instead of having this mindset of like, oh, I have to play catch up. I'm going to go read something quick. That's how you just end up reading a lot of things you don't want to read. No, we're not going to do that. We made it back to the north side, and our very, very last stop was Women and Children First, a very special place to be owners, and I've known them for years now. If you frequent a bookshop in Chicago for long enough and the owners are people that are actively a part of the regular operations, you're going to end up meeting them and getting to know them. And if you're able to form connection, that just, I think, is really beautiful and so needed in the world that we're living in right now. Go befriend your booksellers. You know, that's the other takeaway I'd love for you all to hold on to. I was able to find the last copy of Women Living Deliciously by Florence Given. She's also written Women Don't Owe You Pretty. This is a bold illustrated guide designed to encourage women to rediscover their joy and redefine feminism for themselves. Women Living Deliciously wants us to fall in love with our lives. It will help women uncover the sense of awe and wonder that has been buried by the years of shame, perfectionism, and self-objectification piled on us by the patriarchy. That's how you know I have been consuming a lot of UK content. Patriarchy. For too long, we have internalized the belief that our bodies are things to be looked at instead of lived in, that it's embarrassing to fully express ourselves. We cannot trust the parts of ourselves that are so full of desire. This book unpacks the many barriers women face when trying to access joy so that we can discover the delicious life that's ours for the taking. Internationally bestselling author Florence Given wants to restore your lust for life, your sense of agency, giving you the courage and permission to edge closer to the wildly expansive life that you fully deserve. Not only in the future, not when you're perfect, not when you're prettier, but right now. Yeah. I don't have to tell you how much I love all of that. I've really been enjoying her podcast. I'm one who hoards like self-paced, self-improvement kind of things. One of them that I was going through recently asked the question, who are you binging right now? Who are you looking up to? Maybe you even have a little bit of envy of, oh, I want what they have. And Florence came up, not so much the envy piece as the realization that a lot of my work embodied what she is currently doing. I used to feel more well-rounded that way. I had that balance where I would talk about passion and desire and love and dating and friendship and sex. And I would also talk about grief and loss and hardship and healing. Feels like I got a little bit disjointed somewhere along the way. Some of it has to do, I think, with the pressure to flatten ourselves to be better understood. I don't really care about that now because I realized how much not being fully embodied was eating me alive, and I just want better for myself. I'm hoping that ends up being a good touch point for me to come back to myself as holistically as possible. I could not find the Ocean Vuong book that I had in mind. I wanted to begin elsewhere, and there was only his most recent book. No shade to the most recent book. Again, I was looking at my stack, and I'm like, I am intimidated by the big books. I decided, okay, let's go for a Booker Prize book, shortlisted or long-listed book. I do tend to be on the shorter side. A lot of literary books tend to be a little bit more compact, in part because you shouldn't be rushing through them anyway. That's the thing that I think can be a little bit jarring for people. They're like, oh, what took you so long reading that short book? It's like, you had to reread chapters, you had to go back and make notes to remember. It's not about combing through it as quickly as possible as it is making sure that you're internalizing, taking, and drawing out the meaning. So it may mean that you take your time with it. It may mean that you reread. It may be that you read it once and then you come back to it immediately after or with fresh eyes. I ended up getting The Audition by Cait Kitamura. This was shortlisted by the Booker Prize in 2025. I feel like I've heard so much. I feel like I've seen it everywhere lately, which is promising for a Booker Prize book. I feel like during the season, you may hear about all of them a lot, and then if you kind of drop off, they weren't as popular on their own merits. Maybe they just didn't stand out to mass appeal. But I feel like I've been seeing this one more broadly, period. That's very, very promising. Two people meet for lunch in a Manhattan restaurant. She is an accomplished actress in rehearsals for an upcoming premiere. He is attractive, troubling, young enough to be her son. Who is he to her and who is she to him? In this compulsively readable, brilliantly constructed novel, two competing narratives unspool, rewriting our understanding of the roles we play every day: partner, parent, creator, muse, and the truths every performance masks, especially from those who think they know us best. I'm excited for it. It is blurbed by major publications. I feel like it has that intersection of mass appeal, but as it even said, that it's very readable. That's always a plus, because you don't always have that with texts that are receiving accolades at the level of the Booker Prize. She is a Guggenheim Fellow. She has won other awards, several fellowships. She's had her work be translated several times over. I feel like it would have to have a certain degree of readability. So you're not just translating word to word with writing like this or translating for meaning. It must really have a strong voice in order to be carried out that way. So I'm excited. It ended up being a surprise. I danced around it for a while at a few other shops. So yeah. That's the stack. I want to take a moment to, of course, thank my patrons for sponsoring this video. I want to thank Georgia, Karena, Jess, Laura, the Wowells, and Mallow. I do also want to blurb, because I mentioned it at the top, I am doing something with my Patreon called the 77 Days of Venus, where, as I alluded to when talking about the Florence Given book, that I have spent a lot of time being very shadow-oriented. I've been a death doula for 11 years now. I've gone through a lot, and with that, I feel like I pulled back on what I feel are my passions. I feel like my life flattened a lot, and I feel like I was putting myself in a box. That even came up in coaching that I've had. I was working with a coach for 4 sessions, and this feeling of waiting for permission, waiting for things to be trendy, have some type of external validation that I should or shouldn't do something. And I feel like I'm trying to let myself be pulled by my personal desire and sense of fulfillment and values a little bit more so. I feel like you'll end up seeing that reflected in the content that I share on here. And I hope that you will join, because I am doing so much more writing within Patreon for this whole challenge. It has really made me feel like I'm coming back to myself. I feel like it is actually rewiring my brain. If you all want to hear me talk about that more, about the impact that writing has had outside of the challenge, I'd be very happy to do so. I would like to claim name here and now with you, me, talking person to person right now. I have always felt like I have a book in me. And I do feel I keep making excuses or I keep saying yes to things that end up making it harder for me to end up writing. Again, no regret or no feeling of like, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that so I could have done this. I don't regret the fact that I've gone to Witch Fest for Salem Witch Fest last year. I'll be going back again this year. I don't regret saying yes to the things that I know add value to my life, but focusing on making changes where I can so that I am able to carve out more time and to make it a priority. Even thinking about the origin of the word priority has been really big with me. There's some who have said that you really have only one priority at a time. You could have other things that you want to do, but you're only doing one thing in one phase of time, and then you move on to the next thing. So maybe you have one main priority. The next thing is what you would do next. So I feel I am letting myself think about where I can have whatever the one big priority is, and then let writing and reading and everything else I'm trying to alchemize be what I want it to be. I also feel too that there has to be an ending point. So I have been thinking about how after Witchfest is, I think, my good drop off point. I am going to spend even more time writing. I'm still giving it time and care where I can now, but me going all in is still a little bit of a ways away. That all being said, that's an accountability thing. I still want to show up here. I'll keep showing up on Patreon. And I really look forward to seeing where we can keep growing in that direction. I feel, if anything, writing where I can now is like planting the seeds of where I want to then grow into. And then after I am on the other side of presenting in August, I feel like I will be in a really good headspace to let myself go all in. I can't do National Novel Writing Month the way that other people do. If anything, I want to use this time to think about writing again, what I would want to write. Will I write a novel? Will I write nonfiction? I wanted this to be the tinkering time, and then make September, October, November, December, the rest of my Mercury year, I want that to be a bit more dedicated to me, honing in, focusing a bit more. Again, if you only have one priority at a time, then I want that season of my life, that final time period of my Mercury perfection year, to be about going and taking the fruits of all of that tinkering, having that culmination, hopefully ending on a strong note. That's all for this one. I will be asking within Patreon if there are any books that I have on this list that is of interest to you all that you want to read together as part of the book circle. Again, that's only within Patreon. You can join at even $5 a month. That's USD to join and to read with us. Also get all of the things I'm writing and have going on personally, professionally. Let me know which of these ends up appealing to you, if you've read any of them already. If you want to read any of them, let me know if you also did IBD, if you did the 10 for the 10% off, or if you were also crazy like me and did 15. It's a lot, but it's very well earned, that 15% off. And yeah, I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.